This is my wolf. Come here. This is my wolf, Theodore. Say hello, Theo. He's a bit of a shy boy, but he's a good pup. He's a good pup and he loves getting outside. And it's a funny thing about dogs is dogs are the most forgiving, empathetic, loving creatures because I think primarily they live in the moment. You could belt a dog as hard as you can and still over time build a relationship with that dog because that dog lives primarily in the present moment. It is an embodied animal. It doesn't live in the world of thinking and overthinking and anxiety like we do. There's a lot to be learnt about that kind of mentality. This is not an update video. I'm sick of making them. I'm sick of talking. And as a beautiful commenter on my YouTube video said today, I'm putting the gauntlet down. Enough words, start to do. And this year has been just that. This year has been an experience of learning the reality that ideas and philosophies and spirituality and values need to be embodied. I think for so long, because of fear and because of the fear of judgment and because of my own immaturity, I deeply embedded myself in ideas, but I relegated that to the mind. And I read voraciously. I read widely, I read broadly, and I talked to people and I conversed, but I never actually took the time to realise that these ideas that I have, whether it's about Christianity or faith or philosophy or adventure or archetypes or myth or symbols, they need to be embodied in the real world. And this is the problem with the Enlightenment thinking, is that you can actually talk and talk and talk and talk and never do. And it is okay, but it is not okay. It is not okay to live a disembodied life. And the ancient philosophers understood this. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Jesus, they understood that you needed to embody your philosophies, to embody your values and to embody your life. And 2020 was freaking hard for all of us. You know, I started 2020 with these BMF challenges. It's been a year since I made the Bow Miles videos, since I made the 10 Days of Silence video, talking about my desire to get out of mediocrity, to get out of the middle. But 2020 hit really hard for me, and it really pushed me to the fringes and the outskirts of my communities. And it forced me even deeper into my mind. But there is something, I think, there is value to be found in going through freaking hell. There is value to be found when you are confronted with the shadow, with the darkness, is that you are forced to find the light. And through this experience of 2020, in now finding my calling in studying psychology, in moving forward in my goals and grounding myself in a job and creating financial wealth and moving forward in my life, in my relationships, I'm now engaged. It has taught me more than anything that I must embody my values. I must embody my philosophies. I must embody my worth. I cannot relegate it to the mind. I can read, I can think, I can talk, but I must live life. I must live life. And the tools of BMF, the tools of challenges, the tools of discipline, and the tools of goals are valuable tools in spurring inspiration within you to move life forward. Running a marathon is in and of itself worthless. But everything that manifests from the embodied experience of running a marathon will change you entirely. It is the same with the 10 Days of Silence. Once 10 Days of Silence are done, it is worthless. These experiences mean nothing in the overarching aspect of life unless you understand that they manifest so much meaning that spreads like a virus throughout your entire life. And this week I had someone on my page comment that they're sick of the words and they want me to do something challenging. They're putting the gauntlet down, and I believe that they were sincere. They weren't trying to be nasty, but they wanted me to be embodied. And I want that too, but I'm telling you, without apologizing to you, because I'm not going to apologize for this, I needed to go through hell myself to understand that ideas are fruitless. Ideas are worthless if they are not embodied. You know, someone messaged me on one of my YouTube videos this week accusing me of being a pseudo-intellectual. And I wasn't offended by that. I don't get offended easily, but it made me think about what that means to me. Because I don't consider myself an intellectual at all. I really strive to be an embodied seeker of truth. And there's power in that. If you're a seeker of truth, you never are satisfied where you stand. You're always searching and wanting to know where you can grow, where your weaknesses are, what the truth is, what the truth in its whole and totality is, which means that I'm never dogmatic about life. I'm happy to be called out. I'm happy to be wrong. A pseudo-intellectual talks about ideas, talks about things in a way that makes themselves look better. And I empathise in the fact that I understand that these videos can seem in that manner. They can seem in that vein, that I'm just talking and talking to make myself look better, to get more views, to get more subscribers, to make money. But, you know, without doing, I can't dispel that myth. But it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not an intellectual. I'm not someone who holds ideas to a high esteem above the embodied experience. I believe in my heart of hearts that 2020 will be a pivotal year for me, because it has taught me that I need to live out my ideas, I need to live out my Christianity, I need to live out my faith and my values and my structures of being more than anything. You know, when you look at the simple principles of the 12 rules of life of Jordan Peterson, they are lived. Clean your room is not an idea. It is an embodied experience of getting your life in order. Jocko Willink, he says discipline equals freedom. Discipline is an embodied experience of order, of getting order in your life by seeing chaos and bringing the potentiality out of chaos so that you can have richness and fullness and meaning within your life. You know, there's a famous speech by Theodore Roosevelt. He talks about the arena. And I want to read it to you. It says this: "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong the man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daringly greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat." This whole channel is me just freaking trying. And if you're trying, you are growing. I truly believe that. I believe that if you're failing, you are trying. And if you are trying, you are growing. And you can write me off. You can call me a pseudo-intellectual. You can tell me that I'm not good enough, but it does not matter to me because I'm in the freaking arena. In 2021, step out of your comfort zone, get out of the middle, and be reassured that because you are doing that, by virtue, no one can judge you. By virtue of you stepping into the arena, no one can judge you, because he who complains, he who criticizes is sitting on the bleachers. And if you are sitting in the bleachers, then all I can say to you is that peace be with you, may you step in, because there is no life to be found in the bleachers. There is no life. Every single person with meaning and love and joy to give is in the arena. And until you step forward valiantly, with great purpose and worth, you will never know what it is like to be a human being. And this is the practice that I'm rolling around in the grass today. I'm meditating, I'm breathing. I'm not doing challenges just yet. I'm stopping and trying to remind myself that this is a life of embodiment. But it will not stop there, because I believe that the challenges of life, the goals that we set on a large scale matter. You can't just roll around in the grass. You have to take up the hero's journey. Not just within your career or your family or relationships, but in micro adventures that push you to your limits. And so in 2 weeks, I'm going to do my 10 days of silence. I'm freaking finally going to do it. And I'm doing it not because I'm scared of the marathon and because I don't want to run, but because out of this season of 2020, I want to use what I've learnt to go even deeper in an embodied way. 2020 for most of us has been a year of stillness and quietness and calmness, irrespective of the fact that a lot of people died. I'm talking about the fact that we've been in lockdown and we've been in forced isolation. And I want to use that experience. I want to use that experience of isolation and lockdown to go even deeper, but in an embodied way, to really find out what it means to be a human being. To be a human being. 10 days of silence is no joke. To sit in silence and not talk for 10 days takes an immense amount of willpower and discipline, but more so an immense amount of coming back to the present, because all you're left with is your mind. And oftentimes when people are left with their mind, they go insane. I know it's only 10 days, but it's still going to push me because I'm a talker, I'm a conversationalist, I am a socialite, so being on my own in silence for 10 days is no joke, but it is what I'm going to do in 2 weeks, and I'll document this process. I want to talk to you about my journey. Obviously, there'll be a lot of commentary because you can't talk for 10 days, so therefore, this is an auditory medium of communication. But we'll find a way. If you want to join me, please comment. I'd love to give you the details about how I'm going to do it. I'd love to do a quick video on the structure that I have to do the 10 days, because it's going to be intentional. I'm not just not talking and going about my daily life. I will implement practices within the 10 days, including breathing, ice baths, rolling in the grass, walking my dog, to come back to the embodied experience. If you want to join me, message me. I'm not Bo Miles. He's a beautiful, beautiful man who I respect and I love, and he does these unique, quirky videos. I see myself differently in that I want to just document my experience. I don't want to become a channel that just does challenges. I don't want to do challenges. I want to live out my experience and document my journey with you, whether it's talking about faith and living that out, whether it's talking about philosophy and living that out, whether it's talking about getting out of my comfort zone and living that out. I want to document that. And feel free to hate it. You can dislike my videos, you can comment and hate it, but ultimately I think that says more about you. And I think it's sometimes we write stuff and it's like we see stuff and it's like a mirror that reflects back our own insecurities. So I have nothing but love for any of you that dislike or comment hate. I have nothing but love, because I understand this life that we're all on is a struggle, it's suffering, it's hard. Join with me on this experience. I love you all a lot. It's time to be embodied. 2021 is the year of embodiment. Enough talking. I love you, Susan. Thank you. Enough talking. Let's get it done.